Hi, I'm Laura Williamson. This is Bear Speak. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's guest is Ogor Winnie-Okoye. She is an immigration attorney and she's got a lot of good information to give us. But before we get going, let me tell you a little bit about myself and who I am. Not only am I the host, I am a personal trainer, a Pilates instructor, a health coach, and a Reiki practitioner. So thank you for joining us today and let's get going. All right, so Ogor.
Laura,
Welcome.
I am excited to be here, sis.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. It's so good to have you.
Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's absolutely stunning, just so you know. I mean,
we're trying to look like Laura. Now she's going. Okay.
no. So before I dig in, you and I have to tell a little background story.
Yes.
You and I met at conference, a
Yeah.
women's conference.
Women's conference.
Is that Lake Spring?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We met. It was our first time meeting.
Yes.
And we hit it off.
Yes.
And I don't want to call it love at first sight because is that weird? That's a little weird, right? It's a little weird.
It's not weird.
Are you sure?
We loved each other.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes. So we met each other, and since then we've been like two peas in a pod. I want to say.
Yes.
And your energy, you're just fantastic, and you're very welcoming and very open, and it's just a beautiful thing. I'm getting chills. So it's a beautiful thing. And so for me, I had no intention then, but I didn't know I was going to invite you to do this. But in my mind, I think I want extraordinary people on the show, and automatically you came to mind when I thought about redoing my show and transitioning from TV to podcasting. So I just wanted people to hear your story, if you were willing to share it with us. And so here I am. And then another story, I know I'm talking a lot and I apologize. When we met, I was one of the panelists there. And I was a little nervous, let's just call it. I was a little nervous.
You didn't seem nervous.
And Ogor gave me a whole pep talk. She's like, you can do this, you got this. She was even in the room for it. And she actually videoed me and she did the whole thing. Didn't know me, ladies and gentlemen, from Adam, but she sat there through the whole thing and then videoed me. Gave me the video after. And so for me, that it just touched my heart.
Oh, wow.
So here we are now.
Yes. Can you believe it?
And yes, I know, right? I mean, you see
just
how things work.
Yes.
And there are no mistakes, ladies and gentlemen.
None.
There are no coincidences in this life. If you don't believe in them, I'm going to say, well, there are coincidences, but then there aren't. Everything has a purpose and a reason.
That is what it is.
So
Precisely.
I don't think this is a mistake from it.
No.
So now, about you, because this show is about you today.
No.
Tell us about yourself. What do you do?
Okay, Laura. So it depends on who you ask. I do a ton of things. So first of all, can I just say I am proud of you. I am proud of this move. It's a magnificent move. Bar Speak. That's the name of the show.
Yeah, we're Bear Speak now. It took a while. It was a few iterations. I was trying to figure it out. I was like, what's gonna resonate?
I love it. Bar Speak. Yeah. I love it. So what was the question again? Because you know how I always
what do you do?
Oh, okay. So it depends on when you ask me that question. So my kids will say that I'm their mom. Boo Boo, my husband will say that she's the most beautiful woman in the world. Mm-hmm. And my clients will say that, oh, she's my coach or she's my attorney or, so I wear multiple hats, exciting multiple hats. So my day job is attorney. So I have a practice that I've had since 2007, but, been an attorney over 22 years here in the United States. And of course, I'm an attorney from Nigeria as well. But I do a ton of things. Boss Legal Group is the name of the firm. We are located in Lynn, Massachusetts. And what we do is we help unlock justice and peace of mind, Laura, for our clients in the areas of criminal defense, immigration work, family law, and my favorite one, life planning, which is the same thing as estate planning. So my work entails working across practice areas, yes. So life planning, is actually estate planning, but I choose to call it life planning. Because whenever I say estate planning, people say, well, I don't have the kind of money to plan
Okay.
my estate, or I'm not old enough, I'm not getting retired anytime soon. But life planning essentially tells whoever the listener is that if you're 18, if you own a home, if you pay into any sort of retirement planning, you should have documents or series of documents to help plan out your life. So I love that part of my practice because it gets people thinking about what to do in the event of incapacity, death, disability. So it gets them getting their documents ready because it can happen to anyone.
All right.
Yeah.
I Wow, what an awesome mix. Usually you don't get that. You maybe have to get a job and they offer it to you.
Yes.
And then you think, oh, okay, so just take some money out of my check and leave it at that. But planning,
Yeah.
like strategizing and thinking about, well, at this age, if I'm understanding you correctly, at this age, I plan on retiring. And this is what I'd like my retirement to look like.
Yes. And yet, Laura, it should be the preeminent consideration for anyone. Because think about that. Laura, if you die, God forbid, today, or if you become disabled, and there's no designation of who you would want to step in and take care of your, or manage, or help wind down your whole assets, who you think is going to do that?
Think about their mortality.
Exactly.
No one wants to think, well, if I put it in writing, does that mean, I'm going to walk outside and get hit by a bus?
Exactly.
I don't mean to be extreme, but nobody wants to think about that. No one, and it's a part of life, just like being given birth. It's all part of life, so it doesn't mean that it. But a lot of people have that fear.
Yes.
Like I don't want to think about it. And then what I've seen happen is there's nothing in place for what your wishes are, and so it causes chaos. So in my mind, death isn't about, and we didn't intentionally
get into
take it into this direction, but since we're here, I'm going to go with it. Yeah. But the issue with death is, I think when you pass, you don't think about the repercussions or what's going to happen when you're gone to the people that love you, care for you, right? So then everyone's at a loss because they don't know what happened. You might get discord, you might get fighting, you might get a struggle, tug of war, and it could be amongst family members. It could be, like you said, with the state. It could material, and then you have to, because if I recall correctly, don't you have to go to court after death anyway to make sure that everything was.
Unless you got your affairs in order, then you can avoid the probate process, which is essentially one of the reasons why I advocate and explain to everyone that I meet that it's so necessary. It's fundamental if you want to. So the probate process is very time consuming. It's expensive. It's usually you didn't get your affairs in order during your life. And I have a story that I always tell. And I have so many other stories. But Laura, I have a woman who had a sister. They were not friendly. Let me just say that they were like sworn, like they were not in good terms. Very not friendly.
Okay.
But the babies, she died leaving 2 babies. And guess who the court appointed? Yes, to take care of them.
How was
because she's gone.
Well, no, they're left with the sister.
Yes, they're left with the
sister.
sister.
But how was the sister with the fact that now
she stepped into the shoes? She's the designated guardian.
Because she didn't designate anyone before she passed away.
Exactly, but I'm sure this woman would not be happy that this sister she didn't speak to for X amount of, you know what I mean? So it's very, very important that people do this themselves because the courts don't know your individual personal situation, and also because death is inevitable. There was something that I was reading yesterday, and we're going to get into that, I guess later on, that if you did what you're supposed to do in accordance with God's plan for your life, whoever you believe in, if you walk in accordance with their will for your life, that death is liberation. Yes, we're going to church. Church is a big part of it. Yes,
I'm going. Let's go together. We're hand in hand, and we're going to skip.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So, all right.
Yes.
So, Ogor, here's the thing. I think
I love it.
There's been, and for those of you whomever you believe in, this isn't about forcing something that you don't. It's just, this is our belief system. That doesn't mean you have to believe, and it doesn't mean that we're trying to belittle or make you feel like you're less than or whatever have you. It's a choice.
It is.
And it's a belief system, just like every other belief system. And if you don't believe in God, we'll say, because for others it could be a higher power, it could be a goddess. There are many different cultures.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's belief in a higher power.
Yes.
Whatever that higher power is for you. And so something other than yourself.
Yes, bigger than yourself.
Your human self, yes.
Yes.
So that's what we'll refer to today. For us, we refer to God. But now getting back to this. So with regards to that, it is my belief as a God-fearing person myself that everything does happen for a purpose.
Yes.
There are no mistakes.
Absolutely.
When mistakes do happen, lessons are attached and there are things to be learned.
Yes.
It isn't because you're a bad person and you did something awful, and that all could be true, that you did something that you don't want other people to know about, or you probably shouldn't have, or however you define it and you look at it. But at the end of the day, the question is, what can I take away if you're in that space?
If you were.
Now, as someone who has seen when there is not a will in place and the confusion and chaos that it can cause, I've seen people who, and I've had to do it for elderly loved ones who are unable to care for themselves after a while, and you kind of have to plan everything out for them. And that's a different situation. That's when we're talking about, it could be Mass Health, or other agencies that will help supplement sometimes.
Yes.
But long and the short of it, even if you have the means, it gets to the point where if you need care, you might be in a position where if you don't have family and someone else to talk to you and say, let's say you're by yourself, it might get to a point where you have to pretty much liquidate everything you have and to trade in that care for yourself.
Yes.
And so that's another issue that comes up. And because you have to liquidate everything, one of the things that comes up is, okay, so whatever money they have left, you might also want to plan their whatever their funeral is going to be, whatever those plans are, we need you to do that too.
Yes. Yes. I talk to everyone about the necessity of life insurance. No matter how little, everyone must have some sort of life insurance in place. Temporary, term life, or whole life, or, permanent life insurance in place. Why? Because if you're leaving behind loved ones, what is your plan for their lives, especially if they're younger? And also, there are so many modern versions of life insurance that provide living benefits as well as death benefits, which is the number one reason I say to people, speak to a financial. So that's part of the services we provide in the firm, giving you the different layers of life insurance, types of life insurance, whole life, permanent life, term life, and then, planning accordingly. Why? Because life insurance, a lot of them are now providing for your living benefits that will cover chronic illness, terminal illness, long-term care benefits. So in the event something happens, I always find it fascinating, Laura, that people just don't believe that it can happen to them. But then they see it happen to other people.
Yes. But what I'm going to throw this out as someone has been there, and okay, I'm not even sure how to put it. Okay, so what I notice is amongst friends, and I think what also will make a difference for you are the people that you surround yourself with.
Always.
Right? Because depending on the people that surround you, that will be part of the conversation. They'll be like, well, girl, I did my will, and I was putting it together. It's like, how old are you doing a will? And then, but what I'm finding is, as a woman, and if you are a single woman, you don't have any children, you don't have any dependents, you don't have a mother or father living with you, and so on and so forth. What I'm recognizing is now this is part of the conversation. This is, I did my will, or I have an illness. I recognize I have an illness, and I just never know how things are going to go. So I think in my best interest to have something in place.
Absolutely.
If God forbid something happens to me,
Absolutely.
people know what to do.
Exactly.
Right? And so I'm noticing the conversation now. Maybe I'm of that age. Maybe that's part of it too.
Or you have people like that in your circle.
Yeah, and
you're that person.
Most of
exactly.
the people in my circle are like, well, did you get your will done?
Exactly.
Did you do your 401k?
Yep,
like there's literally a checklist of preparation, if you want to call it. Yes. And then it's like, well, you gotta get that done. You haven't done it because you just don't know.
Yes. You just don't know.
You don't know. And so, and then when it comes retirement time, that's another thing. So retirement comes like, where am I going to live? How am I going to have the funds to live somewhere? I don't plan on living like this which is great, but I might need to go into an assisted living. So before it was taboo to go into assisted living. No, now it's part of the conversation because there are levels.
Yes.
There are definitely levels. Yes. And it's nothing like what it used to. It's not a nursing home anymore. It's
beautiful places.
I mean, you hear about the apartments in Florida and the parties that happen and all the things. Yes. So actually, you have company, you have social or not. You can go out and have dinner or not. Like but the point is that the conversations, topics are a lot different now, and it's no longer about how much money you have. But I think again, the misconception is that you have to have a certain amount.
No, you don't.
And then, but the tricky thing though is, and maybe I shouldn't touch on this. This might trigger a few comments. I don't know. Is being a middle class person, ride the line of being over or under to qualify for certain properties. Sometimes, if you can't pay out of pocket because the cost of these places can be extremely high.
So what are you doing today? That's my conversation. What are you doing today to make sure that you're able to retire comfortably? Like, what are you doing? And there are a lot of when I get really crazy. You were there at the seminar. Or were you there when I spoke about life planning?
No, I didn't. Okay, I think I had my talk
at the same time. Okay, yeah. So we did. I spoke about that at the conference as well. I get really flustered when people have no plan in place. Now, how do you expect to retire? Is your plan to work till you're 80 years old? Have you ever had a conversation about Roth IRA and the reason why you should at a minimum have a permanent life insurance so that you can start accumulating the cash? The cash accumulation component of a permanent life insurance for me, as well as the living benefit attached to it, is the number one reason why everybody should at a minimum reach out to do a life planning review with someone, a firm, or people that know about it to break it down for you, because it's never too late to start. There is the cash value accumulation in the permanent life insurance policies from which you can retire comfortably, from which you can borrow. I mean, this conversation can take us years. So I don't know if you want to keep plugging.
But it's important. It's valuable.
Yes.
And, this is, what would we put this under for health? Or would we call this financial health? What we call this financial planning?
Life health?
What do we want to call this?
It's life planning. It's also financial health.
Because it's not easy. And I'll be the first person to say that, trying to save over time, there have been moments where my funds have been minuscule. Like,
of course,
I'm like, how am I putting money away?
Because you're alive.
But I'm like, okay, well, I could do 50. I'll make 50 work, or I'll make 25 work, or I'll put something. You put a little, and then when it changes, and that's exactly what I did. Like, I'll be honest, I went at least a year. There was one point I went a while, I didn't put anything in at all, and I was like, every time. But as soon as I could, I was doing lump sums, trying to play catch up.
And I always just say to client, that's a great point, Laura. And I always say to a client, where is your money sitting in right now? Where is your money? What's the interest rate for the vehicle where your money is sitting? Because of the compounding interest. These things compound. And so I made sure, and I spoke about it at the conference, and I made sure I tell every woman who has young children to start when the child is little. Because when you start, so the IRS code 72E actually allows you to open a life insurance, index universal life insurance plan for as little as 15 days. You come back from the hospital. So imagine someone who opens a vehicle like that for their child at 15 days old. and this child is getting to 20, the amount of cash accumulation based on the compounding interest that this child would have at age 20. And because this child is still healthy, Laura, there are no when kids are brand new, predominantly they're healthy. They're not old. So what you're paying for premium for that policy is nothing. So you can get a $1 million policy for a brand new baby and pay almost nothing for the monthly premium forever. That is capped forever. So it's never gonna. Yes.
I don't have children, but I didn't know that.
No, yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, I teach people this. And I say that is the ultimate gift you can give to your child. Because if anything happens to you eventually in the future, the child has a place. It's called a juvenile policy. So what you do is it allows you, the IRS code allows you to get these policies at 15 days old. Okay. So people who are taking advantage of them open this policy. So you, as the mom, would be the policy, or as the dad, or as the adult, because of course kids cannot make contracts. You're the policy owner. Mm-hmm. The life that is insured is the kid's life. Okay. And of course, you designate a beneficiary. So for my juvenile policies for my children, I am the owner of the policy. Okay. The children's lives are insured. And for now, I am the beneficiary. But when my kids get to the age of 21, or the ones who are, that I believe they can afford the premiums on their own independently, they step into the shoes and assume the policies. And, so what you do is that, for me, I say to my kids all the time, I've done my best. If anything happens, well, in addition to you having your own policy, but the juvenile policy, the cash value accumulation by the time the child, imagine you did this when the child was 15 days old. By the time the child is 20, the child is getting, to buy their first home or whatever. So
that's awesome.
The information is mind-blowing. A lot of us don't know a lot of things. And I always just say, you don't know what you don't know.
That's right. I'd agree with that.
You don't know what you don't know, yes.
So let me ask you, how did you get started as a lawyer? Why law?
Oh, why law? Let me see. I think if you ask my mom, Laura, or my sisters, my mom used to call me a pocket lawyer. Like I'm the kind of child, precocious. Yes, my mom called me a pocket lawyer all the time growing up. So I've always been a freedom fighter for my friends and my siblings. Yeah, that kind of kid. My mom said that I would jump into everyone's fray and kind of try to sort it all out for them. And then they would tell me, be quiet. You talk too much. Like, I was that child. My mom still calls me the pocket lawyer till today. But yeah. So I think I've always had that thing of fighting for people who I think can't fight for themselves. And it's a trait that I had since as far back as I can remember.
So you were meant to do this. This is your calling, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Then again, it depends on who you ask. Some people will say to you that my calling naturally is being a coach. Like, I coach personal development, Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
What is your approach to working with clients? How do you start with them?
So because that's a great question, Laura. I think I alluded to the fact that I went into my initial observations were that people from historically marginalized backgrounds and people of marginal means seem not to have the kind of access other people who are wealthy, people who are white, would have before the courts. I noticed it earlier on when I was a bar advocate some 20-something years ago. Mm-hmm. I would sit in the courtrooms and I'll be like, no. So my approach when I meet a client is ensuring, first of all, that they deem me a good advocate, like someone who made them feel seen. Because when you earn that trust with a client, that means, I say it's a client-centered approach to the practice of law. It's all about the client. Does not mean that I would now give you unrealistic expectation. I will explain what to expect. I will not tell you that it's going to go your way because it hardly goes your way. But if I earn the trust of the client knows that they have a fierce and fearless advocate that genuinely believes in their case or their cause. Mm-hmm. The passion flows through. That's how so the consensus, and that's why it's funny, a lot of our clients are referral base, recycling people we've helped 10 years ago, all their relatives, and then end up coming. My biggest compliment from every single one of the clients when they give us the review is the fact that they said they came into the space and instantly they're like, oh my God, I feel seen. I feel heard. So that's how it's about earning that trust.
What are some of your biggest challenges in working with people or just doing what you do?
People coming to you and telling you, so you got a not guilty for my friend? Are you going to promise me that you're going to get a not guilty for me? I'm like, hell no. I can't do that.
But I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why do they think that could?
Yeah, they don't understand. But they came to you because someone else told them that they got a great outcome or their desired outcome. So I tell them I'm not even, I can't do that under the rules of professional responsibility. And I also say something that always cracks them up. I'll go like, I'm not Jesus. Only Jesus can predict the future. But what I can assure you is that I'm going to fight and do whatever is legally possible, legally being the key word, to get you your desired outcome. But I cannot make any promises. So the challenge is about essentially making the client see the realistic expectation, the fact that if you're going jury trial, it can go either way. Or if it's a divorce, like a lot of the divorce clients thinking that the divorce, I want to get 70% of the marital assets. No, it does not work like that.
Right.
And then explaining to them that you might go to trial and end up with just 50% or less, depending. There's a lot of things that go into this. So it's about setting realistic expectation. A lot of clients come in with a view. Their reality, Laura, is what they saw on TV, on court TV.
Well, it's fabulous on TV. It's not.
No, it's not fabulous in real life. Yeah.
Well, okay. So you do so much. So my next question to you is, who's your not ideal client, but who are the people that you work with or you service? Who are the people that you work with? Who are the types of people? What's going on with them?
Criminal issues,
mostly
family law issues, immigration issues, life planning issues. We have a slew of clients along this range of practice areas. So it doesn't matter. Our clients can be people of really marginal means and people with a ton of assets.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you consider your job stressful at all?
I think I'm going to be dishonest if I say that my job is not stressful. It is stressful, but there are ways to manage the stress. Okay. There are so many ways to manage the stress. And the work-life balance thing that I think you and I had that conversation once.
Right, we did. Yeah. And how do you manage how do you balance yourself? How do you manage all that?
You have to. Laura, no one can pour from an empty cup. No one pours.
Sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure. I tell my kids this all the time. You cannot serve from a depleted place. When your reservoir is depleted, it's impossible to make any progress in the area. So there are 4 areas in my life that I'm purposeful in making sure that I have some semblance of balance. I call it centeredness. I feel like my spiritual life is probably, for me, the most powerful space. And then there's the emotional, and there's the physical, and then there's the mental.
Okay. And they all work hand in hand, don't they?
And they all walk in hand. And I always say, Laura, that when my spiritual is off, every other area suffers.
Balance starts there first and then works its way out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are some of the ways that you take care of that? How do you remedy that within yourself?
Laura, I am unapologetically a follower of Christ. Okay. Because I've lived through situations that I know, but for his providence, there's no way. Right. So I start my day. It don't matter what's going on. I start my day, I am Catholic, so I start my day with my rosary. I have to do it. 15 to 20 minutes, depending on, So, and then my Bible verses, and then that's how I start my day. I have to. And in those 30 to 45 minutes, the goal is to prime myself for the challenges ahead.
All right.
So I don't leave that house or get out of that car, because sometimes you're running late and then you do it in the car, and it's priming my mind, my spirit, my emotions, my life force to confront what the day will bring, because we're not Jesus, we don't know what the day will bring. But if you're anchored and fully centered within you, when your inside is at peace, your outside falls in line. People don't understand this because it's the peace from the inside.
Because it's been forgotten or lost.
Yeah.
And we don't, I mean, ideally speaking, we should be able to talk about really whatever we want because we're supposed to have freedom of speech. But the truth of the matter is, usually we don't delve into the spiritual side of things because it's taboo in the sense that, well, it's not PC, right? You might offend someone, or you might, but I think if we talk about faith, we talk about spirituality, or whatever your belief systems are, it definitely makes a difference when things, not just when things are difficult or challenging, but just for your day-to-day, just living and just being. And I don't even want to use the word surviving, because life should be so much more than just about surviving.
Yeah.
It's my belief that one of the reasons why we're here is not just to suffer and go through all the drama, if you will. It's actually to
thrive.
Enjoy and take something away that we actually, granted, they come bits at a time, and I always call it a pearl necklace.
Yeah,
you add a pearl.
Yeah.
You keep adding pearls,
it.
and I apologize if I took that from someone, but that's how I see it. I don't think I did, but I may have. I'm not the first person to think. But, you got to build your own pearl necklace and hold on to those moments that, are meaningful to you, and keep adding a pearl on until you have a full necklace, and then, you go from there. But you're always adding.
I love that analogy, Laura. Thank you for explaining that in that way.
Yeah, but for me, that's the point of view that I have. And again, not because it's easy, because it is challenging. And I don't want to use the word hard, but I think gratitude is another thing that comes up.
I love it.
So it's about putting your gratitude somewhere. I would say, even if, let's say you don't have a belief system or a god or a goddess or a deity, or I don't know, a being or an idea of you worship. But at the end of the day, I think as soon as I woke up this morning, I'm grateful. I put my feet on the floor and I stood up, because once upon a time with my back, it was very difficult to do that. And I can look back and say I took for granted the body this body that has allowed me to do so much. And then when I could not do things, literally, I kind of had a different idea of that. I'm like, okay, Laura, you've always been able to do what you wanted to do, like physically do what you wanted to do. I would say, literally, I could be jump, and it would just be like, how high do I need to go? Go.
I love it.
Right? But not everybody has that gift. Yes. And I know that because of the people that I have worked with and the people I have trained. And honestly, to have your body and the faculties about you, and to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, that is a gift. I don't care what anyone says. It is a gift beyond measure.
It is.
Because if you don't have your health, if you can't physically do things, you can't physically do anything. You can't work. You can't care for yourself. You can't bathe yourself. You can't eat. You can't make money. You can't. And so that's just my idea, my example of the value of
gratitude,
of being grateful.
I love it.
And so for me, these are some things that you do for yourself. I know for me, some things that I do for myself is your prayer in the morning. I find it, I pray throughout. God gave me the strength. God gave me the opportunity, the ability. Thank you for being here today. Thank you. Whoever you give thanks to. And again, this show wasn't intentionally, we didn't come in here today and say, we're going to sit down and preach to people. That is not the point.
No.
And just, this is about us expressing to you that these are some of the things that
Do.
that are important to us.
Mm-hmm.
And these are some of the things that we do to help us get through times that can be challenging. And when we're looking for peace of mind, sometimes you don't know where to go. Not everybody has a therapist. I mean, therapy is good, and I've had therapists here, but it's about giving you the tools, giving you opportunity and options.
Yes.
This is an option.
Yes.
I want to present options to our listeners. I want them to know that there are different things that they can do. You find what resonates for you.
Exactly.
That's what that is.
That's the point.
It's not about us preaching at you and throwing things at you. Each his own.
Yes.
Literally,
Yes.
each his own. You
Yes.
got to live your authentic life, what that means for you.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, my belief is we're not just here to suffer. We are here to learn, but we're also here to enjoy.
I love it.
And that's the balance. And
I
it's
love
finding that balance.
It's the balance. And that's the ultimate. I think that's also the ultimate quest in life, is to find the balance. Because I wrote about this in Awaking and Unleash Your Victor, my spiritual guidebook.
Okay.
I wrote about the fact that we suffer when we fail to acknowledge the divinity in us. We're not just this mass of flesh walking around. We have a soul, we have a spirit, we have an essence that is divine. So we're part human and part divine, Laura.
However, I guess we did say we were going to church today.
Did we say that? Yeah.
Yeah. So because I, as someone who's gone through the parochial system, I am also Catholic.
You are?
I am.
I didn't know that,
I
Laura.
am. It's not something I just, but I am. But, parochial all through from elementary,
Yes.
all the way also up until college. And, it just felt like who I am. And I do come from a family and a background that is, I'm going to say religious, because I feel like saying spiritual and religious are
Different.
They're two
Kind of
different,
different, yeah.
right? There are similarities overall,
Yes.
but different. But at any rate, so the point is that I just want to help people have balance and help them find what resonates with them, and help them to know that, first of all, they're not alone.
Yes.
There's always somebody out there.
Yes.
We don't have to be the same to get what you need. It's more than that. You're unique. You're who you are. But acceptance, I think, is important. And accepting each other for the differences that we do have. At the end of the day, what we do share is we're all human. That's what we share.
Yes.
And how boring would it be if we were all the same?
No.
So be you. There's no judgment. And going forward, I like to say I would want this to be a judgment-free zone.
I love it.
If it can be helped.
It can, yes.
Things happen. We're human. We make mistakes. We're made to make mistakes again. And we're here to learn lessons. But at the end of the day, I want people to be able to relate and understand that there's a resource. There are people out there who understand, and you can be seen and be heard, and to speak your truth.
Speak your truth.
And that's what this is.
I love it. Speak your truth.
So before we go, I think we're going to start to wrap up, because all the information you gave has been incredibly helpful.
Thank you, Laura.
And I think people needed to know that there's so much more, because I sit here and think of some other questions, but I don't want to keep you all here all day, because it's easy for me to do that in general.
Yeah.
But what's your last bit of advice for people? It could be professional, personal, it can be both. What would that be?
We're not meant to do life alone. Life, personally for me, Laura, and I say this to my client, life can be challenging. But if you want to rely solely on your humanity, you will suffer through life. But unless and until you decide to stop tapping into the divinity in you, which is all powerful, the struggle is lessened significantly. So my ultimate quest in life, Laura, and I wrote about this in my books, is to merge my humanity with my divinity, because the struggles that I faced in life was when I looked at myself and said, I can do this. But Ogor, you can't do it alone. What is the higher power? For me, it's my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It fuels me. He fuels me. It fuels me up. He fuels me up. I don't know how to say it, but we have to rely less on ourselves, on our humanity, and more on our divinity. That's how life gets easier. So I'm through all the different hats that I wear, which is a ton of hats, I know that I'm able to manage it all and it looks seamless, but it's not seamless because I invoke constantly the divinity in me and say, Lord, this is another challenge. Do what only you can do, because you know I can't do this alone. That's the only way. And so that's what I want to leave with your audience. Don't rely on yourself. There's so many Bible verses on this. When people rely on their own understanding, I don't think we are meant to do that. And I came to this realization, I want to say, maybe about 7 years ago. And of course, realizations come through challenges that, make you realize that, you're tough, but you can't weather this storm alone. But you have an ally, a divinity that resides within you, that is at your beck and call, if only you dare to awaken and unleash that victor or victress, however you want to call it. The title of my book is Awaken and Unleash Your Victor. So unless and until you begin to tap into the divinity and awaken and unleash the victor, life will be suffering.
Where can you get the book?
It's on Amazon. The title is Awaken and Unleash Your Victor. It's also on my personal website, which is ogorwinnie.com. But you can get it on any bookstore, Amazon, Kindle, all of those places.
And if someone needed your services, they need your legal counsel, how could they reach out to you?
Bosslegals.com.
Okay.
Bosslegals.com. BOS Legals, LEGALS.com. Schedule a meeting. I am more than happy to talk about anything you want to talk about. If it's criminal defense, immigration, life planning, divorces, family law, we're there. The first thing everyone in the firm learns is the fact that you have to become that client. During the interview process, I ask everybody, are you willing to step into the shoes? Because unless and until you embrace the client and become, in fact, the client, you wouldn't fight as hard. Right. So if you're looking at it as work, you're not fighting as hard. But if you become a woman who is going to be deported to Guatemala and who has 2 children who are 2 and 5 years old, if you become that, your briefs are different. You appear differently. You fight harder. If you become the man who was just arrested for OUI and is about to lose their professional license and all of that, you fight different. Mm-hmm. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for this impassioned talk.
Oh.
It has been beneficial. I appreciate you so much for making time.
I love you, Laura.
In your schedule to come and sit with me and talk to us today. I believe this will help someone. It's my belief that we all have something that someone needs.
Yes. All of us.
And whether we realize it or not, it's true. And sometimes we don't see it on a large scale. We're not actors and actresses on TV or in movies, but you still might be a superhero in your own right.
Yes.
And even then, you don't necessarily have to wear a cape and have a big letter on your chest to be considered a superhero. That's a fallacy, by the way. So
I love it.
I thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
We're going to sign off, and you're going to hear from us again. It's so great that you spent time with us today and with me. I'm Laura Williamson. I'm your host. This is Bear Speak, and join us again for another riveting show.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.